There's two things that have happened to every sim racer, and those who say that this didn't happen to them, I don't believe them. Either you were leading a race or in a podium position and there was no pressure on you, and because you pressured yourself, you bottled it. Yeah, happened to me multiple times. Then there's another scenario. You're in the middle of the pack, you're in a good position, and the driver behind is hounding you. He's quicker than you, somehow he ended up behind you, and he's just hounding you, and you crack under pressure, have a spin, have a collision, miss a braking point, and bottle it. These two scenarios are common in sim racing because just like any other sport or game, seeking optimal performance leads to pressure, which leads to mistakes. Today is the beginning of Season 2, Week 3 on iRacing, and I am racing, as you know, in the Falken GT4 challenge. In case you don't know, check out my videos from last week where I started my journey in the Falken GT4 challenge, and it's been a pretty difficult start. Definitely finished my first week in this series with negative iRating and negative safety rating. So I practiced for this week and I was ready, and I did 2 races. And both races were some of the most psychologically taxing races I have done on iRacing. This is the psychology of iRacing, and I truly hope that you enjoyed this video. Both races are edited down so that you only get to see the action or my thoughts about what is happening. If you enjoy this format, if you enjoy the story, please consider subscribing, consider leaving a like, and please, if you can, leave a comment, guys. I love to hear from you, I love to connect with you, and I would love to hear your thoughts about this topic. Without further ado, let's get into race 1. Hello everyone and welcome to Barber Motorsports Park in the Falken GT4 challenge. We qualified strong here today. We're in the front row starting in P2. We're driving the McLaren 570S GT4, which I'm having a lot of fun getting to grips with, as my current air rating is 1767 and the strength of field is 1196. We are car number 1. This race is looking promising. The goal is to get on the podium, and immediately as I see that I'm car number 1, I instantly feel pressure and I instantly feel like I have to do well this race. I know that I cannot give anything for granted and that I'm gonna have to work hard and be consistent in order to do well. Let's get on track. And alright everyone, we're about to go green.
Mate, it's hammer time.
Looks like the leader is off. We're not allowed to pass him,
Green, green, green.
which won't be a problem. He had an absolute flyer of a start. But it's okay, the tires are still cold, so let's treat the car with respect. I have a gap behind, which is great because this next hairpin here is Dive Bomb City here at Barber, and avoiding that in the first lap is definitely quite nice. Just nursing the car through, making sure to avoid wheel spin, making sure to avoid losing the rear. Tricky downhill chicane here. Very easy to lose the rear here. Slight lift here to make sure that we can rotate the car through it. That's the part of the track that I'm least confident in. The S is there as I understeer dramatically here. But we managed to get away all right. Taking a look back at the end of the first lap, Risgaard closed the gap at turns 11 and 12. I knew that I was weak there, so I took it extra easy because I felt a bit insecure going through their own cold tires. But this led to a moment of self-doubt where basically I almost made a fatal mistake, oversteering into turn 14. Fortunately, I managed to keep my head cool and keep the car under control. But at the same time, as I am car number 1, I was trying to do my best to keep all the cars behind me while chasing down the leader. We're chasing Jackson,
The leader has just done
who is actually the lowest rated car on the field. We are the highest rated car in this field. That's right, I have car number 1 for this race, which is pretty cool. That doesn't happen very often. Slow car ahead. Looks like the leader might have made a mistake. Let's continue putting pressure on him. As I was saying, he's the lowest rated car on the grid, but he posted a flyer of a qualifying lap, so definitely not to be underestimated. But I want to try and stick with him for as long as possible to make sure to capitalize on any mistakes that he might make. I can see behind that Risgaard is looking to close the gap. He's now a second behind. So the gap behind is opening and it's closing. And it's important that I try and keep him behind as much as possible, but this is basically turning into a psychological battle. Just trying to stay as consistent as possible.
That's half distance.
And despite the fact that there's no wheel-to-wheel fighting, this is very challenging because it's very much a battle against myself here. And it's easy to slip up, to feel the pressure and slip up in this situation, so I'm doing my best to just look forward and hit all my markers as Risgaard behind is closing the gap and getting worryingly closer. And looks like he's lost it. Looks like Risgaard has lost it. Very unfortunate for him. He was putting up a great psychological battle behind, but what a relief in a way to see him spin. As I mentioned earlier, very easy to spin in that section. But yeah. We now have Van de Walle behind, 9 seconds.
Jackson on 29.78.
So
The time was on 31.19.
there is no reason to bottle this. All I have to do is just drive my own race. With Risgaard out of the game and the lack of pressure behind, I am finally ready to relax, and with 1 lap left to go, I am ready to settle for P2. Oh my god! He's made a mistake! We're leading! We're leading, guys! We're leading. I guess there's only 2 laps left to go, including this one. And there's nothing more to do here, guys, than to just drive this car within the limits of the track and take it home in first. I am not gonna take any risks because there is absolutely no reason to do that. Let's go get that dub. Let's go, guys. White flag, baby. One more time around Barber Motorsports. And what a stressful lap. But as I cleared turn 14, I knew that it was in the pocket. Swing by the pit wall, guys. Say hi to the team. We won, guys. Let's go. Let's go. I cannot believe it.
You deserve that today.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. This feels too good. And absolutely nothing wrong with being in a 1.1 or what is it? Yeah, 1.1k strength of field. I had high expectations of myself here, but I mean, so much can go wrong. I can make mistakes. Somebody could take me out. Anything could happen, and the win is just never guaranteed. It doesn't matter how well or how high your iRating is. So it is a massive relief to get this win. And I was just telling Thomas, the man in P2 who spun, that I mean, he's very quick for his car number, for being the lowest rated car on the grid, and also that it's very unfortunate that he had that spin, because otherwise he would have won. One more thing about this race that gave me a lot of satisfaction is that car number 20, Ashley Charles, is rocking the LDFR Sim Racing livery. Check it out, this is crazy. It's the first time that I see someone else using my own livery. If you like the livery and you want to race it, you can find it on Trading Paints. I'll put the link in the description. Filled with happiness and enthusiasm from this very clean race that resulted in a win, I was ready to hit the track again. So everybody, welcome once again to Barber Motorsports Park for race 2. Before even qualifying, I knew that this time around I would be facing a completely different challenge from the one that I faced in race 1. In fact, this is a strength of field race of 2.4k and I have car number 20. That means I am one of the lowest rated drivers on the grid. After qualifying with the same quali time that I put down in race 1, this time I qualified in P14. Now, despite the fact that it feels like I have nothing to lose, my intention here is to do as well as possible. I want to try and get into the top 10, but I am sharing the grid with very competitive drivers which are going to try to do everything to achieve similar or even higher goals. I am going to come under a lot of pressure, and I am just wondering if I'm going to be able to stay as cool-headed as I managed to stay in race 1. Let's get on track. We need to survive lap 1.
Green, green, green. 15 minutes remaining, 15 minutes to go.
We have a run on the driver on our left. We are, however, side by side.
Left side.
So,
Left.
took it easy there.
Clear left.
Did lose a bunch of positions. I'm gonna try and get stuck in next to the McLaren here. Do not want to lose another position. Ooh, a little bit of... Oh! And the car behind slamming into the barrier. Let's keep going. The downhill chicane here, the corkscrew coming up. Very dangerous. Looks like everyone got through alright. We've got a slow car on the left. I did not pick the best line through that corner, but admittedly I was focusing a bit on the cars ahead, trying to spot any potential mistakes or collisions. Alright, that was an intense first lap. And let's keep doing what we're doing. Battling it out against the 3 McLarens ahead. I mean, Mercedes is ahead.
There's an incident in the hairpin. Car right. Right one, clear right.
Looks like we have had a little bit of contact, but I think we passed the 2 cars there. That was a 0x. So no big deal. Oh, and I'm coming in slightly too hot there. That was a bit of a mess. But we managed to keep the AMG of Johansson behind. Oh! And that was the AMG ahead of us. Completely losing it. Very easy spot to lose it there, guys. And as I mentioned in the previous race, I'm quite slow in that sector. So we saw the nose of Johansson coming super close there, sticking it in. I'm definitely gonna have to try and be a little bit braver in that complex of S's, guys. Another AMG, car number 21, having a problem here as we come up to turn 1. We'll make the pass stick. And we made a lot of positions during that lap, guys. Let's keep digging. We're right outside the top 10 now.
There's an incident in turn 16.
Another Mercedes lost it there.
10th position. Fastest
That puts us in the top 10, guys.
1:30.37.
Lots of pressure here from behind. In a field which, by the way, I just realized is absolutely dominated by Mercedes, guys. Why is that? Is it particularly good in this type of track, or is it currently winning out in the balance of power amongst the GT4, guys? Let me know what you think about the AMG GT4, guys. And the gap here, obviously, is to try and hope that Johansson and Murphy behind just battle it out themselves, so that Johansson can leave me alone to chase the car ahead. It looks like Schlenker behind overtook Johansson, so new guy chasing us. 1.9k rated driver.
Looks like P4 has binned it in. The corkscrew. Yellow flag.
Sounds like P4 is having problems. There he is. Another victim of the corkscrew, guys. Schlenker behind is getting closer. And it's pretty much right against her gearbox, guys. We're currently sitting in P9. We're in a great position, guys. I'm gonna try and defend it with all I've got. Yeah, he's getting closer. I wouldn't be surprised if he will think about making a move soon. So we're gonna have to start thinking about our defensive options here, guys. Lap times are good. If I can keep this up, that would be great. Roughly 3 laps to go. Better exit compared to the car behind, but he's still very close.
Remaining, 5 minutes left.
Very good to build a buffer here before my weak spot, so that I can afford to take it the way that I normally do. I'm trying to be slightly braver here. Very easy. The track finishes so quickly there. It's so easy to finish out wide and go smack against the barrier, guys. Taking a defensive line here as well. Closing the door. I don't want any dive bombs. He's getting so close, guys. Yeah, and you can see that Schlenker behind actually is 4 positions behind where he started, so he's definitely quick. I mean, he qualified in P5, so
pretty consistent.
It's gonna, yeah, he's a quick guy. He's a quick guy, so it's gonna be hard to keep him behind. This is all about pressure. Once again, very similar to the race before, even though they're technically 2 completely different races. A very psychological battle here, guys, to try and resist all this pressure. I can tell that he's getting impatient, so I need to be careful.
Off the pace in sector 3.
And this is great, guys, because it looks like we're pushing Schlenker into Berkmotel behind. They're battling, and if Schlenker has to defend here, guys, he's gonna lose a bunch of time. He's gonna be losing a bunch of time. And now that we're so close to the end of the race, guys, now that the end is near, it is so important to try and hold this position, guys. It means everything at this point. It means everything. My tires are going and I'm struggling a little bit in the final sector. But it's easy to defend in this track, and I push Schlenker into Bergmotel again. So he's defending his own position, guys. I have to do it one more time. We're one lap away, guys. One lap away from a P9 in the top split here, guys. 2.4k strength of field. Let's do this. As we take,
Run out of track limits, keep it between the lines.
Very unfortunately there, our first X of this race.
1.5. 2 minutes to go, 2 minutes. We think P2 has gone off in the carousel.
Oh, and it looks like the battle behind that did it tears, guys. P4, P10 and P11 have collided.
Gone off in turn 4.
And we've done it, guys.
P9. And there's the finish. Good result, mate. Well
Oh
done.
man, I am exhausted. And we did it, guys. Top split, car number 20, P9. Only 1x, I gained 50 iRating. That's over 100 iRating gained in 2 races. 2 races where psychology played a huge part, because in the first race I was a highly rated driver and I had to make sure to not bottle it. I had to make sure to stay focused and just drive, keep it clean and just get away from the field. And in that situation it's so much easier said than done to keep it clean and to not make mistakes, because the pressure really gets to you. And in this case, second race, completely different scenario, much stronger drivers around me. Once again, a big goal to achieve, a top 10. And once I got into that top 10 during the race, 5 positions higher than where I started, of course the pressure started building up. We had real pressure in this race from behind. As the driver behind was doing everything to put me off, was doing everything to try and overtake me, but we managed to hold it. Those were my first 2 races this week, guys, and from the way that it went last week, which was my first week in GT4 here on iRacing, I am so extremely happy that this week has turned out so well. But there's more work to do. I know I can extract more out of this car. I know that I can do more. And I very much look forward to next week, guys. So if you're interested to see my progression in this series, just make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you like the video if you did, and as always, leave me a comment, guys, if you can. I really enjoy connecting with you. Without further ado, guys, I hope that you have a wonderful week. I hope to see you in the next one, and take care.